Look, it's a cookout party. You know what we do. You know what I'm saying? Roogle.
What's that?
Now you already know. You're the grill master. You're the grill master of the life.
Cooking it up right now, man. I had to run out there and throw it on there. I woke up at like 6:30. It was like I could just wait a little longer. Next thing I know, it's 9 o'clock. I'm like, oh no, Lord. Oh, Lord. You know, so I had to...
Some people don't believe that it's like it's a skill to this thing. It's rules to this thing.
It's rules to this thing.
And so they just like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna bring who I bring. We're gonna go through the steps as far. Look at Nick. Nick like, nah, that is not it, huh, Nick?
No.
It is rules to this thing. All right, with the cookout, let's just jump right on into it. Because I know it's the 4th of July. Some people kicking it. We got the faithful listeners that enjoy us and the energy that we bring. So that's kind of cool. And let's just jump right on into this. Okay. First of all, who decides who's cooking the meat?
Whoever buying the meat decide.
Oh, is that how it goes?
I believe that, because if I'm buying the meat, I'm like, whose hands is that meat gonna be in? You know, especially now. You know how much a slab of ribs cost today, man? I'm telling you. Listen.
Right.
Hey, it was like $2.29 a pound, $2.90. No, hold on, $2.98 a pound for a spare rib. Man, these prices are incredible.
Okay, wait. Y'all gotta help me out here. So, cause see, I don't know like pounds, cause clearly I ain't the cooker. I'm the Jello bringer.
I'm the
Jello bringer. Okay.
Is those Jello shots or just like regular Jello mold?
Jello mold. You know, I could probably do that Jello
with some
shot.
pineapple.
You know, me and my non-drinking self, I might put too much in there.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm like,
that could be a good thing sometimes.
Could it?
Yeah. It just depends.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know, but I'm the Jello bringer. But when you decide who is actually cooking, you said whoever buys the meat cooks.
Well, I think you decide on who cooks. You know what I mean? Because if you buying it, you want it, you want it to be right. So you're gonna give it to whoever you think is the best person to do it.
Right.
And you said two what? 89 a pound.
$2.98.
The ribs that went up.
Okay, so like one slab, like a standard slab of ribs. What does that mean?
I would say usually that's about maybe somewhere between like, I mean, depending on how healthy the pig is, somewhere between like 7 pounds, 9 pounds, depending, you know. Like, for example, I got some pretty big ones, but it was weird because I paid less.
How much it cost? I need to know the dollar amount because I don't know all that other stuff.
Well, I'm saying like, okay, for example, I went and I looked.
$21.99.
Like you might see one for like 7. It might be 7 pounds, right? And at that price, you're paying like $21 for a slab.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
A good one at a good grocery store.
Yeah.
Go to a cheap store, you might pay $12.
But the hustle is this. They got the ones that are, all of them is vacuum sealed, right?
Okay.
But they got the ones that are thawed and the ones that are frozen.
What?
So, you know, get the frozen ones and they're cheaper. That's what I got. And they were cheaper and bigger.
Now, why is that?
Simply because they're frozen, I guess. I don't know. Maybe those is like from last year. I don't even know. Some throwback ribs. I don't know. But hey, I bought them. Hey, this is my second time buying them, and I mean, I bought them from Wally World. You know what I mean? So they were legit. You know.
So does it's a seal vac? It's a seal vac. So is that heavier?
Is y'all paused or am I paused or what's going on here?
That must be your stuff because we good. Hello. Everybody
go
pause
to girl. You the only one don't seem paused.
I don't know, but we recording. We're doing it virtual for the listening audience. But if you pause, don't worry about it because you're still here. Look. Are you on?
Give me a moment to try to block the sun.
All right, Kim, you there? Nick, are you there? I got somebody moving and grooving.
Okay, so
Look, I'm like whispering. Is that you, Nick? There we go. Okay. We got Roogle coming back on with the virtual.
hello?
Hello, I see you.
You see me?
I see you. You still frozen, but I see you.
Okay.
We gotta wait.
Not even...
We gotta wait for Nick to come back. But I can hear you.
Okay.
We got Roogle back on. I'm like, it just went whoop.
So what's going on with? Is this going to be a continuation to the same thing, or are you starting from the beginning?
No, I'm just a continuation because I'm on live. I'm on over the airways, so everybody still can hear. Even when y'all disappeared. Yeah, even when you disappeared. So we'll continue on. The so you said it's like $21.99. So my question was, is there the does it weigh more because it's thawed out and like the water in there? Because ice would weigh more than it being thawed out, I would think.
No, I think it's just the just what the market is right now. I don't know if I don't think it has anything to do with the ribs or whatever. It's like, you know, when you catch a deal, when you catch it, you catch it. When you don't, you don't. But I don't think it has anything to do with that. Really, I just, you know, honestly, I really don't know. You know, but what I can say was that I got like, I should look at the package. I just threw it away already. But I got like two nice slabs, like two nice ones, and it was like $23, right? But when I seen slabs individually, it was like $15 a piece. You know, but they were smaller. They're about like 5 pounds or whatever. So, you know, with that math, you know, do that math, yo. So but that was the thing. Like, even when I went to like some other places and I saw it, like it's actually cheaper now to buy baby backs. I mean, they're like I don't know if it's cheaper, but it's like it feels cheaper. You know what I mean? For example, you get 3 baby back slabs for like $31, right?
Okay.
But with the spare ribs, which is going to be a lot more meat, you know, that you paid for or whatever, it's going to be there was only like 2 slabs and they were averaging like $29. They were averaging like $29, $35. You know what I mean? So I don't know. You know, it's like, hey, if you want that good pork taste, you got to pay for what you want. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, now, is that why? We're going to try to get Nick back on. So Nick's going to have to log off and then come back on again. Maybe she'll be able to like come back on. So we're just waiting on her. And Kim's fixing her camera. So is that, remember back in the day when you had a cookout and it was like, okay, all the little people, y'all all, you know, you had your little table that you sat at and they always said hamburgers and hot dogs. Is that why? Because they thought ribs was expensive then, and is that why we just like, no, we go for the ribs?
I think it's one of those things like when you like feeding the masses. I mean, like if you believe me, if they had it to put a rib on everybody's plate, they would have did it. You know what I mean? I just think like, you know, like you figure like one thing about cookouts, parties and stuff that piss me off is like waste. You know what I mean? When you like clean up afterwards, you be like, well, damn, you shouldn't even have got nothing. You know what I mean? If you was gonna throw, you know, not like a bad
waste after. Okay,
yeah,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. How many people is enough people to come on, Nick? I need Nick on here and in this too. How many people is enough people for a standard cookout?
How many people is enough people? I would say you got to leverage how many people you got in your house, right?
Okay.
And then look at that number. Because if you, like, for example, I would say...
We're talking a cookout, not a family reunion.
A cookout. I would say probably no more than 12.
No more than 12 people?
I would say. Because, that way, you could ensure that everybody is, you know, like you could, I don't want to say this, it's so crazy. Because I just had a cookout not too long ago. We invited like, I don't know, we invited like 20 people. We had about 15 come, I believe. And the amount of food that we bought was enough to where it was like, everybody had everything. Everybody, in my opinion, left satisfied. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it was like when you start getting those larger numbers, like you find yourself like, oh, you got a shortage of this or a shortage of that. You need more ice. You need more, whatever.
Who gonna make an ice run?
Yeah, who gonna make that ice run? But you think like this, like if you buy like a case of beer or something like that, on average, that's 2 beers per person, right? You buy a case of whatever your beverage is, like pop or whatever. You can, like what I'm saying is, you can make single purchases and be able to supply that whole party, to where they would be content. I think if you got 12.
Okay, what you think, Kim?
I think if you're hosting it and you're not asking anybody to bring anything, about somewhere between 10 and 15, I think that's about right. But if everybody's contributing to it, the more the merrier. If you have the space for it and you don't have somebody up there cutting up, and somebody's always gonna fight at the cookout, but they're not there.
Why should they bring that case of beer?
Yeah. So if you're just hosting and you're inviting people and you want something that's kind of intimate just for the people that you deal with regularly, I think that's a nice number. What Roogle said, somewhere between like 12 and 15.
All right, what you think, Nick?
Yeah, around that. That's good. You can control what's going on when it's that many people.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a house, because this is for the listening audience, and they may not know that there's rules to this cookout thing. So if you're looking at, if you have a house and you have, let's say, like a 3-bedroom house, so you figure 2 to 3 bedroom house, you figure 10 to 12 people. Is that a safe number?
I mean, like that bedroom thing. I mean, like
I'm just trying to give like square feet. I'm just trying to give a visual.
I guess what I would say was
imagery is me. Go ahead.
Would be how big, like where are you having it? I mean, obviously
versus an apartment.
But I think the issue is like how much space you have in like your living room, dining room area, kitchen. That.
You gonna bring it inside? You gonna bring 12 people?
You gonna have no matter how hard you try to keep it outside, it's gonna go inside. It's gonna always go inside. It's gonna go inside if it's too hot. It's gonna go inside if it's too many bugs. It's gonna go inside because I tell you like this. I'm one of those people who be like, I don't like eating outside, so I have a cookout and then I'll eat inside because I don't like eating outside.
A cook-in.
Christmas and Thanksgiving is the cook-in. It may be Easter. Summertime, y'all staying outside unless you gotta go to the bathroom. You better go straight to the bathroom and right back. Don't be in there snooping, peeking in rooms, because you got folks like that too. Because if I catch you up in mine snooping, it's gonna be a problem.
Okay, so we can't snoop around. All right, here's the next one. The sides. Do you assign the sides or do you just say bring a dish?
Bring a dish, but the potato salad?
Wait. Nick, when you say bring a dish, but the potato salad, hold on. Go ahead, Kim. Kim want to say something. Let Kim go.
I was going to say I assign the sides because I know whose food I like and what dish they make that's considered the specialty. So I ask you to bring what I want to eat.
Okay. All right. Now, Nick, you said, what about the potato salad?
Only certain people can make potato salad. I being one of them, of course. But I'm just saying, sometimes I don't feel like it. I'm only asking certain people to make potato salad. You can't eat everybody potato. You can't eat everybody cooking, period. But you really can't eat everybody potato salad. That's
I think they got them acrylic nails.
Like that movie. What is it called? Who brought the potato salad?
Y'all is hilarious.
It is. It's a great movie.
Yeah,
what about you, Roogle? Do you assign or do you say bring a dish?
I think you better off assigning. You know what I mean? At least at least categorizing. You know what I mean? Like if someone said, "Oh, what should I bring?" Say, "Oh, you can bring a dessert, right? Or you can bring this." Or it even if you don't like hold them to like, okay, pound cake versus Jello, if you just say dessert, you know, they can bring whatever. And sometimes you say, for, like, you assign those kind of missions to like people that you ain't sure of. You be like, because you know what they gonna get something from the store anyway, right? So you say, you like, well, you know, you can bring a dessert. Oh, you know, bring a case of you know, soft drinks or something like that, you know.
Right.
You know, but like when you say bring a dish, like what I hate is those people who bring a bag of potato chips and think like they fulfilled the duty or something. Like come on.
Get the largest plate, had the most food on their plate, and they brought a bag of chips.
Right. Now,
be the ones to take about 10 plates home.
I don't know how I should be feeling about this because I am the ice girl and the dessert person. just bring the ice. I'll be like, okay. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. What happened?
Well, that's because they told you to bring the ice.
Yeah.
But Roogle just said, if you're not sure.
We just know that you're a person on the go. You know, we know you're on the go a lot. You're very busy. So we don't want to put that stress on you. That's all.
Right. You have certain categories for people. You know, there's some people that's on the go all the time and very busy. So
clean it up.
I ain't gonna stress them out.
You have people who just can't cook now. Keep it real.
Yeah, I was getting to that. Some of them can't cook. Some of them is just busy and you don't want to bother them, you know. And then you got those that just can't. Yeah, you're right. That can't cook.
Now you do the potato chip bringer. Now, how you just gonna bring a big bag of potato chips and everybody's handing like that's not okay?
Well, 40 ribs on your plate.
Yeah.
Right.
The issue is that you can't just bring a chip by itself. You got to bring a dip too or something. You know, you got these people this got all the chips, but they dipless. You know, like if you
bring a couple bags of chips,
you gotta have a variety box if you bring in chips.
And see, that's how I feel. The variety where the little people here grab a bag and then you could go ahead because I'm a germaphobe. I feel like I don't want none of that. Then you got a big bowl. Then you got to use. Excuse me, do you have a bowl? And then they come late, and then they want to pour everything in. I'm not okay with the lateness. Y'all already know. Now, when you actually say and you stipulate the rules, we are eating at what, 2:00? Is that a normal time for like holiday cookouts?
4.
Yeah.
Boy, that's late, man.
I got invited to 2 of them. One is at 4 and one is at 6.
6?
Yeah.
That's an after party.
Already eaten. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think on a holiday like this, for example, I wouldn't like say, hey, I'm gonna start my day and just depend on wherever I'm going. You know what I mean? Like I want to make my own stuff. So I like a later start date so I can do my thing at the crib first.
Okay. So you set a time. So we're gonna set a time. We're gonna have a cookout and everybody's bringing different dishes. What time should the dish that they're bringing be there if you're eating at 2? What time do you tell them to bring their dish?
Is it a hot or cold dish?
Don't matter. It's a side. And if you're eating at 2,
you should probably be there at 1.
Food should be there by no later than 1:30 because you got to set up.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Now I went to a cookout that somebody brought potato salad, but they brought a dish for them, and I guess their husband. It was a small little casserole dish.
Wait a minute, I'm not understanding what you're saying.
I'm saying exactly what
they brought a personal potato salad.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Nick.
Wait a minute. Okay, but they brought potato salad for everybody, and in addition
they
to that, brought their own.
They were supposed to bring potato salad, and they brought it was a cute little dish, but it was just small.
Wait a minute. Wait. No.
I got cousin like that.
They set that dish out there for everybody to try, but it was only like you had to do like a teaspoon.
I got a cousin like that, and then be the first one to grab a plate and make about 2 or 3 plates and take a hold to the kids and the grandkids, and then turn around and make another plate to eat.
If you ain't there, you don't get no plate.
That's right. Why? If you didn't bring your food, why should you eat?
All the multiple plate makers, no.
Would you say
Yeah,
if you're not there, you don't get a plate?
If you
No,
got a
I mean,
teaspoon of potato salad, no.
I'm telling you,
I think
look, every time we have any kind of function, that's what she do. You ask her to make something, she make a little something, and then pack up a bunch of plates and put it in the car or leave and go home, take it home, depending on how far her house is, and they come back and make another plate. And you sitting there looking at that little stuff that she made and a bunch of people that you invited, and you be sitting there looking at her like, and then you pile a plate. Yeah, I got a cousin like that.
Okay, go ahead, Roogle.
I'm just saying, like, the only people who get a plate made in the beginning is the sick and shut in. But if your ass is able-bodied and you ain't come, you ain't getting the damn thing.
You ain't getting that to eat.
You get a napkin up in this mug to wipe your forehead with, but then other than that, you ain't getting a bowl up in here. Shoot. Only the sick and shut in get a plate before the party. If you just like, hey, I'm making this because this person can't come, well, guess what? They missed out. I guess they have to change their schedule next time.
Oh yeah, and be the first. They be the first one in line too. I like for real.
Now that Nick, you got a point there on that. It's usually the person that they come, they're the first one in line, they're there on time, and they pack all these plates and they put them in their vehicle, put them in their car, and then they come back and they eat with everybody else. How unfair is that for the person?
A couple times.
And how unfair is that for the person that comes and they brought something and then they don't have everything because you done took about 5 or 6 plates?
Yeah, it's not a food giveaway. It's a feast that you having with people at that point in time. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. So maybe that should be on like, cookouts. When you do a cookout, do you do invitations?
Well, I don't know if you do I mean, you text the people you want there. You know, like to me, if you have a party of like 12 people and you pick somebody that you know there's gonna be a rubber rouse, there's gonna be an issue. That's your fault because you chose that person to come, you know. And then sometimes you choose people you know you choose them out of obligation. Like if I invite this person, I gotta invite that person because if I don't, then it's this, right?
Okay. What's your thoughts, Kim? This cookout thing is serious. There's rules to this thing.
I don't think you have to send out invitations. But I see what Roogle is saying. There are some people that you would rather not have there, but if you invite this person and you don't invite that person, now you have after the holiday drama about that. But I also agree that if it's your cookout and you want to have a good time, you invite the people that you know you're going to have a good time with.
Now, Roogle had a point when he said you invite people out of guilt. And you know that they're going to start some mess. Or if there's liquor in the building, the party getting ready to go to something totally different. So with that being said, do you invite that person on time or do you invite them later and say it started 6?
They gonna come late anyway.
Some people don't. They be right on time. Look, talk about where the Jello shots, just like what Roogle said.
I'm up a Jello shot it before they got there.
Yeah, exactly. I let everybody know. Look, you come up in here cutting up if you want to. I'm whooping your. That's it.
Now, so do you have to stipulate the rules ahead of time? Like what Roogle said, that's a good. If I had, you say, If I had a cookout, and I'm saying I'm having this cookout, do you put it is not a food giveaway? This is a cookout.
Nah, you just tell them.
Well, I think the thing is, your guests, it's okay to when the party's over or winding down to say, okay, everyone who I invited is here. Everyone who ate. If there's something else, hey, help me, take these, take that, whatever. You know what I mean? I can't.
That's afterwards, right?
Yeah, but when you deplenishing the food before anybody before they get a chance to even have something, that's a problem. A huge problem to me, because I want my guests to feel like, yeah, I hate to say it like this, but they can be a glutton at that time. You know what I mean? It's like, here it is, have at it.
Okay, so cookouts. Do you bring a +1 to the cookout without notifying the host?
Nah, you always ask. Common courtesy, you always ask, but then you do have some of those that don't know what common courtesy is. But you should always ask.
Okay, go ahead, Kim. I can't hear you. What happened? Where'd you go?
Oh, hello.
There you go.
I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Let me see. I guess it's courtesy to ask, yes. But there are times where if you're going to a cookout and you have a +1, is it assumed that that +1 is invited? If you have kids, is it assumed that the kids are invited? I mean, how do you answer that? If I'm going to a cookout with somebody that I really don't hang out with a lot and I'm invited because, you know, they think I'm cool and they want me there, then yeah. But if it's somebody I hang out with all the time, I already know how they are, and I know that they're going to trip if I bring somebody, then yes, I'll ask. If I know that they're not going to, then I won't. There's just some people I know it's come as you are, come one, come all. I guess it depends on whose cookout you're going to.
Okay. What you think, Roogle?
I think it depends on the person. Like, for example, if there's, let's say there's, okay, when you like, for example, when I was younger, you never know who I might pop up with. You know what I mean? So it might be like, well, you know, this is a new person, you know. So I think it depends on like if you know who that person is. Like, okay, if I invite someone who I know has, you know, they're not really in a whole bunch of like serious relationships and they pick up here and there and they might want to bring somebody, blah, blah. You know, you make that.
But that's their +1. That's who they're.
Yeah, I mean, that's their +1, right? But the thing is that the person you invited, you got to make sure that they have good judgment on who they bring to your house. You know what I mean? So I think it depends, you know.
Okay, let me get specific. You bring. I'm having a cookout. I invite a coworker that I communicate with. Then that coworker, she invites another coworker.
Nah.
No.
Okay. Tell me why, and I'm gonna start with you, Roogle. Why is that an issue?
Because she invited a person from your workplace into your personal space, and that's not cool. Now, if it was a person from work and she invited like somebody that she was dating or something like that, that would be different. But to bring in somebody from your workplace that you don't communicate, like if you want that person there, you'd have had them there, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's your thoughts, Kim?
If I invited someone to come with me, I am trusting that the person I invited would be okay with the person who is hosting the event. Once they start trying to invite other people, then they're no longer accepting my invitation. They have decided that they're part of the crew who can invite whomever they want. If somebody invited me to go along to some event, I don't see how I could invite someone else when I was invited myself off of someone else's invitation. So I don't care if they're working with you or not. To me, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, go ahead, Nick. What's your thoughts?
If it's not my spouse, I'm gonna ask. I mean, because naturally most people assume if you're married or if you're in a relationship, that's your +1, that's who you're gonna bring. But if it's additional people, then yes, I'm gonna ask, oh, is it okay if I bring so-and-so? That's just me. Can I bring so-and-so? If I know y'all don't get along, I'm not even gonna ask. I'm not even gonna mention it to the other person, none of that. But yeah, you gotta ask. Just, I don't care what it is, you ask and you make sure, because like you said, not everybody is okay with everybody being in their personal space and knowing their business like that. So you gotta ask. That's only right.
Okay, I had an incident that occurred, and y'all can tell me how I handled it. Was it right or wrong? Okay, I invited a coworker. Now I communicate with everybody. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'll talk to you. But I invited a coworker to my cookout, and the coworker came, and she invited another coworker with her. And I talked to the person at work, and she thought it was okay. So as I seen her coming up, because it was at my home, so Roogle is right, very different. And I seen her coming up with the person, and I was like, what are you doing? I was like, both y'all can leave. Just like that. And I was done. So I haven't talked to the other coworkers since, you know, it's just like, hi, bye. So I guess they felt some type of way, but they shouldn't have felt, to me, some type of way toward me. You should have felt some type of way toward the person that invited you. And to me personally, I would not go. I would be like, well, wait a minute. Do they know that I'm coming? Hold on. And, you know, thinking that, okay, well, she's cool. You could just come, but this is my home. It wasn't at a hall. It wasn't at, you know, some park pavilion. This was at my home, and it was a coworker. So go ahead, Kim.
Well, first of all,
both to leave as I see them walk.
I don't see anything wrong with you having done that. First, for me to invite a coworker to my home, that coworker has become a friend. First, right. my life is separate. If I'm not going to see you, if I hit the lottery tomorrow ever again, then you're not invited to my house anyway. So I have no issue with what you did.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
No, you weren't wrong at all.
It's no, she was not.
Okay, go ahead, Roogle.
Hey, man. You know, what they call it, grace under fire, right? You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, hey, I mean, you gotta handle that however you want to handle it, you know? I mean, because the thing is like the person who you invited, they should have known better. Unfortunately, the person who was the invitee is unfortunately like, you know, I mean, they look at it like, well, damn, what did I do? Well, you didn't do anything wrong. The problem was that the first invitee did the thing wrong. You know, you're the plus one of someone who didn't know better.
You're the plus one of a plus one.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. You are.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing: if one of my coworkers was having an event and they invited another one of our coworkers, and then that coworker invited me, I would feel like this. Well, just like that person invited you, if they wanted me there, they would have invited me. So I wouldn't have gone anyway.
Okay. So now we know. Plus one.
Basically, yeah, that using common sense. If you got we work together, you got invited, and she didn't say nothing to me, nah, I ain't going.
I'm not going. Right.
Have fun. Tell her I said hello.
Right. Right. And it doesn't mean that there's an issue with you and the coworker. It's just, this is my personal space. And I'm the type of person where if I work with you, that's one thing. If I see you outside, that's another thing. And if I work with you and invite you to my home, just like Kim said, okay, we have surpassed that. We are now friends, and I'm comfortable with you in my home. But to just bring everybody, that's not okay. To just bring, I don't want to hear what happened at my cookout at my job. I separate them.
Right.
I separate them. And even if you see me out at a concert, or if I'm talking or something like that, be like, hey, I heard you here. If I'm at work, I'm at work. And my mind is totally what I'm doing at work. And then boom, I'll leave that there. And then outside, or I don't even like talking about things I do outside on break because I'm here and I put 100% in. But I don't like everybody hearing about what happened at my place. And be working in the penal system, honestly, who all inmates talk about something? Yeah, I heard your party was lit.
Right.
But it happens. It happens because people will communicate what they did outside, and I guess they forget where they are, but period. I just like to separate those things. Now, let's go back to the food bringing. So if you are bringing a dish and it starts at 2:00, you need to bring your dish before 1:30. Is that safe?
That's safe. Because, and you have to also clarify, because the cookout starts at 2 and food is served at 2 are two different things. So if you want the food there at 2:00, then you need to say, make sure that food is here by 1:30 so that we can have it set up and ready to serve at 2:00.
How about the family of 5 that is responsible for bringing the green beans, and they come at 5:00 with this big giant pan of green beans and everybody done ate already? Is it okay to send their green beans home with them, or do you just leave it there?
Oh no, you can leave the green beans there, because depending on the type of cookout. I mean, there are some people who go back and eat 2 and 3 times at a cookout. And if the weather is nice and you're hanging out all day, if people want green beans, then they can go ahead and eat. But the people who brought the green beans better make sure that everybody else eat their ribs and their macaroni and cheese and stuff first, because they were there with their food.
Okay. Now, how about if you're invited and they say, don't worry about it? Do you not bring anything? Even though the host said, don't worry about it. Do you?
I got some really classy friends. When I say don't bring anything, they always bring a bottle of wine. Always. Like I say, hey, you don't get to bring anything. But like I got some folks that are like I got a few friends that are in my inner circle where I know they're gluten-free folks and all that kind of stuff. So I'll have different things. I'll tell them, like, if you want to bring something special, go ahead. But you don't have to bring anything. And they always bring like a really nice bottle of wine, cigars, or something like that.
Okay. What you think? When you say you don't have to
you can bring something. Yeah, you can bring something. It doesn't have to be anything big.
Okay. What about you, Nick? If they say don't bring anything, do you not bring anything?
No, I'll bring something. Bring extra drinks, bring extra ice, bring extra something. If they say don't worry about bringing anything, or if they say, well, if you drink, supply your own drinks, I'm gonna make sure not only do I supply my own stuff, I'm gonna bring something that I know universally everybody.
That's good. That's good.
Hey,
that's good.
Like one of my guests, they brought this over, like, and it's like every time they come there, like, it's always something like, we don't even crack it, right? We don't even open it. And they'll say like, oh, I just brought this, you know, so you can see that right there. You know, and it's always something, and I think that's the thing of like having like a diverse group of people that you invite to your cookout, because they'll like the same person, like they brought like this, like last time they were here, like this penguin, like it was like a YSU wine or something like that, or at least it was penguin. I don't know why you got wine. I don't know if they got the YSU hooch, you know what I mean? But the point was that like you if you engage with intriguing people, you get intriguing gifts. You know what I mean? So
you know who you're inviting.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
Now I will say this. Now let's talk about that. You got a bottle of wine. When you bring a bottle of wine, and I'm gonna start with you, Kim. When you bring a bottle of wine and it's not open, just as he showed, do you take your bottle of wine back?
We had this talk on this show before. Leave the wine
there.
Because it's a gift to the house. It's a gift to the house.
Right. Once you take it there, you leave it.
Unless they tell you that you can take it back home. Well, I'm not gonna drink this, take it back. Then you take it back. But other than that, yeah, you leave it.
Like for example, I have a very special bottle that my son bought me, right? And like, for example, I wouldn't take that bottle anywhere. But if I took it somewhere, I would be like, okay, because you're in my inner circle, I want you to try this. But I'm taking that bottle home. You know what I mean? That's just something I brought for that person to engage in. You know?
Take it back home?
Hell yeah, I'm taking that bottle back home. No doubt. Yeah. Hell yeah. That bottle. But like if it's like a regular bottle, like if it's just like some regular, like, you know, like somebody like if I went and grabbed a bottle of Henny off the shelf or whatever, then yeah, okay, that stays. But if it's that bottle that I got, nah.
Well, why didn't you just keep that bottle at home, and then when they come over to your home, you could just crack it open and say, hey, let's try it.
Yeah.
Well, that might be one of the instances where they say, bring whatever you drink.
There you go.
Okay. Bring whatever you drink. Okay. Listen, I'll put this out here. My sister, no lie, and I know she watches. Hey, Buff. She said it was somebody who used to come to their house all the time, and they used to bring a bottle of wine. So her and her husband, they let me know I was up there. They was like, every time he comes over, he brings the same bottle of wine. They don't open it, so he takes it back home. So I guess this bottle of wine had been at the house several times. I said, well, this time we go crack it open, right? Because they were like, he brings the same bottle. They don't want it, but he takes it back and he brings it every single time.
But you know what, like a good
I said, hey, let me taste that. Just so we could open it to see if he brought it, you know, took it back home. Guess what he did? He took it back home. Open.
Crazy.
Go ahead.
The thing I want to say, like a good bottle of wine is like a show and tell. You know what I mean?
Oh, so that's what it's for?
Like if you have a good bottle of wine, like you want to bring it and you want like everybody to try it. Even if they only try a sip, you want them to be like, hey, look what I brought and look how like and experience what I want you to experience from this thing. You know? So I mean it's like, hey, here's this thing, you know, like try it out. It's
and then you just try it out. So we doing like communion samples.
Well, I mean, some, you know, if you get somebody who says, like, there's certain people who say, like, well, I only like this type, I only like that type, I only like do it, whatever. And the thing is, sometimes you don't know what you like until you try it. And so, so it's like, for example, like if someone says, hey, try this out, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna try it out, you know. But I know I would, if I know that I'm adverse to things or whatever, I may not take a bunch of it, but I may take some of it. And sometimes sharing is caring, you know.
Okay. Now if I bring a bottle of wine and you don't try it, and you'll be like, go ahead and take it back with you. I'll be like, no, you know what? Keep it here so the next time I come over, it'll be here. Isn't that like a good way, or you just don't want to store it? Or what if somebody come over your house and they're like, hey, you have some wine. Hey, let me try this. You know?
It's funny you should say that. I had a guest over my house who brought a 6-pack of beer, and I'm doing keto. I'm not trying to drink any beer or whatever. But the next time they came over, that beer was still there, and I said, hey, here you go. You know what I mean? I gave him that thing back. You know, it was good. It was good beer, and had I not been doing what I've been doing, I would have surely drunk it. But the point was that like I knew what they liked. It was there, and even if they didn't, if I would have not had it, I would have still bought that for them to have because I knew what they liked.
Okay, now let's go with the children. You invite families over for the cookout. Do you stipulate the rules? Because we do know that there's somebody in our family that it's like a free-for-all and a babysitter. They don't even watch theirs. It's like boom, and then they having a good time. They partying more than you. And well, you can't party when you're the host, but they having such a good time that everybody else is watching theirs and they're not. They at the card table. What do you say to that? Look at Nick. Look, wait, the vein is in her forehead already. What do you say to that parent?
I whoop kids. Period.
Okay. Go ahead, Gut. Roogle.
I think you had the conversation directly with the kids, you know, because like you say, hey, this is what I expect from you, and this is what I will like. Here's these cookies. Here's this stuff. Don't go by that grill. Don't go by that fire pit. Stay in this particular area, and we all good. Because sometimes kids take instructions from strangers. Well, I won't say strangers, but people that they take instructions better from people who aren't their parents sometimes.
Okay. Go ahead.
I check the kids. If you're at my house and you're at my cookout, you already know how I am. The parents already know how I am. Don't mess over my food. Don't run around my yard. I check the kids. We're already cool like that. They already know I'm not having it.
They are okay. So they know when we step at this place, when we go to Kim Ham to go to the girl's house, we pull in that driveway. We already know how things are gonna go down.
That's right. I check the kids.
My family already know I whoop kids. I'll play with you. I'm gonna treat you like as if I treat my own. I treat you like you my own. I whoop kids. Cut up if you want to. And the parents sitting there, scowl your face if you want to. Don't bring your kids. Either you keep them in check, or I'm gonna keep them in check if you ain't gonna watch them. If you don't want nobody saying nothing to your kids, get you a babysitter somewhere else and don't bring them to my house because I whoop the kids.
Okay. Now I had at that same cookout, I had some little relatives, little people, And my rules were this. And I told the little boys, I said, listen, if you go to the bathroom, and I said it so they can understand, and you pee on my floor, on my toilet seat, you cannot use my bathroom anymore. You're going to have to go down to the gas station. And I told their mother the same thing. And guess what? If they had a little problem, they took some tissue, they cleaned it up. Because the mother ended up telling me, and she knew and they knew. And then I saw one little person, they threw their cake or something on the floor in my kitchen, just threw it on the floor. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I looked, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I said, we are not outside. This is not what we do. And I'm thinking that that was probably like their first outing, so to speak, so they didn't know. And I said, now if you don't pick that up, so meanwhile it's cake, so I got to really like spray some 409 and all that, you know, to get it up. I was like, oh no. And I told her, I said, he's not allowed anything else unless he sits right by you. I said, because you don't throw stuff on the floor. That's not what we're going to do. He was three.
Okay, but still, even at 3, is this what they do at home?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Because they do things at other people's houses that they do at home. So if you don't teach them from home, then yeah, they go out and they go embarrass you. And I whoop kids. That's just it. I whoop kids. I'm sorry.
Back to that. I whoop kids. So, but you have to know that there are some things that may occur when you are having a cookout at your home.
Well, the flip side to that too is kids know what they can do and where they can do it. Kids know that they can do certain things at certain places, but when they go to my house, that this is how we do it here. And you don't have to yell at the kids and get all drill sergeant on them, but you establish the boundaries and they understand if you enforce them. A lot of times the issue with kids are things are so inconsistent that they have to trial and error to see what they can get away with. But I am 99.999% sure that they know if they go to Mel's house, they better check themselves.
Honey.
I don't know. We got some kids nowadays that's like no limit soldiers. And be like,
they don't do it. But I will tell you, you know, when you have a cookout and you have it at your home, there are some things that you mentally prepare for. Like, is something going to get broken? Is the toilet going to be clogged up? The mess that I'm going to have after, you know, it's all over, it's all fun and games. Who's going to be there to help me clean up? Hopefully that person that I said don't bring nothing to, and they're like, I got you, and they kick in, you know what I mean? So when you have a cookout, there's rules to this thing. It's like, what do I do? Where do I fall in at? And like Roogle said, who buys the meat is who prepares the meat. Now, when you have a cookout, say the host decides, okay, well, I'm going to buy hot dogs, hamburgers, and ribs and all that stuff. And then you have that person, like he said, he's on the keto diet, or people that's gluten-free. Those individuals, how do you prepare? And I'm going to give this to Kim. How do you prepare for someone that you invite that may be on a special diet?
And you're asking me because you know my daughter lives with this, and often what happens is when she's invited somewhere, the number one thing that happens is when she doesn't say anything and she shows up, as soon as she gets there, the person who invited her says, oh, you know, I'm so sorry, Nick, I forgot that you don't eat this or you don't eat that. Had I remembered, I would have prepared it for you. Or, you know, I would have prepared, you know, a similar dish to accommodate your diet. What she is learning to do, though, is she is learning to eat before the cookout, and then she takes something to the cookout that's enough for everyone, but that she can eat. So her dish is going to be that vegan dish. So the people who invite her are close enough to her to accommodate, or, you know, if she reminds them. However, she doesn't always want to remind them. She doesn't want to feel like, you know, she's messing up their cookout. So like I said, she'll eat ahead of time so that she's not so hungry when she gets there. And then she will take the dish that she can, as well as everyone else can eat.
Okay. That, like you said, you was like, I know why you asked me. Because you do have those people that are on special diets, and what do you do? And that's a great solution. Bring the dish that you actually eat. And you know what I mean? And eat prior to. Just like Roogle was saying early on, you know, he likes the later cookout so that he can prepare at home and cook at home. Just in case you don't like anything at the cookout.
No. That's just because, like, you got to take care of home first, you know what I mean? Because if it's like if you go over there, because I'm a person, like, I'll go to a person's cookout, I'll eat there, and I'm not really a plate taker, you know what I mean? But the thing is, like, you always want, like, if your grub is good, you want to eat your grub, right?
Okay. The plate taker.
I want to eat my grub.
How do you stop the plate taker? Especially if they're elderly.
I think
we all got one in the family. We all have one in the family. And like I said, they always come, like you were talking to, you said they're there on time. They come early, they are there, they pack their stuff up. But how do you stop? You have to invite the plate taker, because here's the thing, if you don't invite them, they hear about it and they come anyway. And they don't get offended. The plate taker usually do not get offended, and they don't listen. The habitual plate taker. Look, Roogle right now, and the habitual plate taker, they know that everybody sees them taking this plate. They'll be like, there she go. You know she can hear it, because it's usually a female. I'm just gonna put that out there. Look at Roogle already know. The habitual plate taker, they know.
No shame to the game.
They know that they're the habitual plate taker.
They know it. They live for it.
From taking plates.
You just tell everybody, you know, get your food like you do at the banquet hall when you counting the plate. Let everybody eat before you start getting your tomorrow's meal ready.
But the habitual plate taker, you can say that to the habitual plate taker, can't you, Roogle? And the habitual plate taker still does it.
I think the thing is that, hey, you gotta not invite that person. Like that.
Anyway, they show up. Who told them?
They pop up and you be like, hey, hold on. Like, what is you doing? Or you gotta call them out. Like, even if they come, you be like, hey, I know what you do. I know you're gonna try to do it, but you can't do it. Stop it. You gotta tell them straight up.
Or is there a better way to do? Go ahead, Nick. I already know what you. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
You listen, like I said, no matter how many times you sit there and say, could you please let everybody eat before you start to, sometimes you just got to get indignant. And see, that's what I'm gonna have to start doing, especially with this one cousin. I got to get indignant. You didn't bring your son, you didn't bring your grandson, so you gonna have to wait until everybody else eat before you pack a plate for them. Don't be packing 2 plates.
And that's a nice way, but just like Roogle said, if you ain't show up, you don't get a plate.
Listen.
It's an event. It's an event. It's a feast at my house. It's not a food giveaway. So if you ain't there, you don't eat. And if you do,
I'm gonna have to start being like that.
It's because of what was left over.
So should I get a banner? Maybe a banner and say, not a banner.
No,
not a food giveaway.
Some people just don't understand.
You gotta have that intervention. You gotta have that intervention. Like if the person was on crack and they smoked crack in front of you, you're gonna be everybody around them, lay some hands on them and say, hey.
And then they gonna turn around as soon as everybody leave, they gonna light that pipe anyway.
Yeah. But the issue is, in the moment, don't be taking no extra plates because all these people need to party out.
I think the intervention does occur because here's what the intervention goes like this. The intervention goes, you get a text, she's here.
That is hilarious.
And so everybody know, now everybody just looking like. So I'm trying to come up with a solution for the listening audience on how do you prevent that person and they don't get it. I mean, you can say it every way you can. Like, no, well, they gotta eat. Listen, who invited you? And you hate to not invite them, or do you say, listen, I didn't invite you because, like you said, intervention. I didn't invite you because every time you come, you put all the food on the plate and you pack it up and you put it in your car, and then you come back in and you eat as if you never ate. And then somebody that comes, maybe they got off work, they can't taste everything, and maybe they actually put in, you know what I mean? They donated. It was like, well, here's $100, and they're not able to get everything. Do you, because of the habitual plate taker, do you make them a plate first? You put it around.
What I was gonna say is, and you know, our family, we do this. We don't put all the food out. Some of that food stays in the house until later on, so that people, like you said, who show up late, people who actually did contribute, if you've contributed to the cookout, you will get all of the food, because all of the food is not going to go out when the plate takers are there. You can do it that way. Usually there's enough food for the plate taker to have taken what they're going to take, and people can still eat anyway, because the reality is, unless you're just going to put them out there on front blast and tell them they can't have it, they're going to take it.
Okay. And they're going to take all of whatever it is they like.
They're going to take it unless you just put them on blast, shut it down. So you just make sure that there's some food put away so that everybody who actually did contribute to the cookout gets to enjoy it.
What if you passed out the plates and you said, okay, somebody is.
No, because then you got people taking those dirty plates back up to the food. No.
Okay, so that's enough.
That's a no.
I went to a cookout. This is one thing the person did. It was like, it was a graduation party, but it was a cookout. And what they did was ingenious. They gave, instead of giving people like just a plate or whatever, it was outside. They gave everybody a take-home box.
Okay.
So the food that you got in your box, the food that they didn't pre-make the boxes, but you made your plate like you would, but it was in a clamshell, you know, so you took it or you whatever. And it seemed like it was ingenious to me, because like it kind of cuts down on waste. But the other thing was that it really did a lot to like make people look at like, well, how much am I really taking versus how much I really want.
Child, I know people would have put a slab of ribs in a thing like that.
That's what I was about to say. But then
it found a way.
And now we back to, it's all about who you invite to your house.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't do that with everybody. They would load that thing up.
Now, you know, with the habitual plate taker has stepped their game up now, because the habitual plate taker, this is your people that would just come, they started bringing their own to-go containers and aluminum foil. Is that okay?
Hell no, it ain't okay. Because you perceiving that you're going to get something extra. What do they think they is? Gulliver? I mean, was it not Gulliver? Damn, what's the name of that? Oliver Twist or whatever? I like more, sir. May I have more? Hell no, you can't have more. You're going to get what you get.
Go ahead, Kim. Is that okay?
It is not okay initially. However, if at the end of the cookout, the host says, now you can take whatever is left, that's when you bring out your take home. You do not bring your take home up for the first round and everyone hasn't even eaten yet. No.
Go ahead, Nick.
You got to leave it in the car until told to do so.
Hilarious.
Okay. Listen, I like for people to bring their take-home containers, because I don't want to send my stuff. You know, because you end up like, okay, here you go, you never get it back, and then you look up, you're like, wait a minute, I had a whole set of dishes, now I got one burgundy plate.
One burgundy plate.
One burgundy plate, like what?
Oh no, who wrapping the whole plate though? They taking the whole plate?
Because you end up sending it home. You're like, here you go. And then they be like, I'll bring it back.
And you don't sound
you better get it in a paper or plastic or plastic styrofoam.
You have your own carry out to give at the end. So like Nick said, you leave your take home plate in the car, and then at the end you bring out your carrier and take your stuff home. Don't give away your China mail.
So tell me this.
Even your plastic stuff people don't like to give away, and then get mad if you ask for it.
Some people, now y'all already know, in certain homes, the crock butter, those are considered Tupperware. Look at Roogle, look it up. Crock butter.
Hey, hold on. You talking about what they call that? Those are
the country crock bowls.
Yes.
Those used to be my cereal bowls.
The crock bowls, the Cool Whip
containers. You know, you're like, oh, I could use that. In terms of, what is your Tupperware? The Cool Whip bowls.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the Tupperware. And you keep it. And some people don't like to bring that back. And there's some people that say, hey, I sent you with my Cool Whip container with the lid, and you didn't bring it back.
Man. Ain't nobody asking for no Cool Whip container back.
Ain't nobody asking for that country crock butt.
Ain't nobody asking for that back. If somebody asking for that back, they just you need.
I know. I'm with Roogle on this one. That you got something going on if you ask for that back.
You use my container. I was like, what container? Huh? Yeah, I put that peach cobbler in that Cool Whip.
Girl.
I put that peach cobbler in the Cool Whip.
I was like, oh, let me get you.
I ain't even gonna lie, my grandma used to do that to us though.
She used to tell y'all to bring it back.
Because that was a universal. Here you go, take home plate. So you better bring it back.
So somebody else can take it home. So I had to buy the little, they got the little stack container because you can't just buy one. But I was like, how do I tell this person I threw it away?
You tell them like, hey, that's a disposable one-use plastic only, and that shit went into the trash. Because I think it's like on certain things like that, you're only supposed to use them like for so long. They're not like reusable plastics. You know what I mean?
Or like spaghetti. You put spaghetti in certain stuff, and then when it turns red,
it's gonna turn red.
It's over. But so I had to buy another container because I was like, oh, this is like Tupperware. I'm sorry. So, oops. I did want to say, girl, I threw that thing away. I was like, you know what? I have to get you some more. And I just left it just like that. Because sometimes those go from one place to another place to another place because somebody comes over your house and then you send them home with something and it just keeps going. So that Cool Whip, get more than one use.
I got a question.
Sure.
If somebody makes something, those nice big, the Rubbermaid, they come in different sizes. You got the big one, the big tray. If somebody makes a little something for your little gathering in one of those, do you make sure they get it back? Or do you sit there and get mad if they ask for it and not give it back to them? This is the Rubbermaid we talk about, the big, large rectangle.
I would think that that's like a keeper. That's why I sent it with you. It's like an aluminum pan. So
no, not what she's talking about. Not what she's
she's talking about that kind with the magic seal in the top.
With the top and everything.
I would assume that they wanted that back.
Thank you.
Okay, listen.
This is the habitual plate taker that want to keep people's stuff in the
Rubbermaid container. Wait a minute, Shirley.
Look at Nick.
It's under there. It's really nice. I will make sure that you get it back. I didn't know. I thought it was really nice. She baked some cookies in it, and it looks wonderful. And it's still there. And I'm glad y'all told me proper etiquette for the cookout. Here you go. I will bring it back to you because I do still have it. And she probably don't feel like, I wonder when she gonna bring that back.
Well, sometimes people will tell you, may I have my container back? They'll ask for it back. Sometimes.
Yeah, but see,
now the Cool Whip thing, you gotta tell me, huh?
Wait a minute, go ahead, Kim. I can hear one. Wait, Nick. Wait, Nick. One at a time. Go ahead, Kim. What'd you say?
Now the Cool Whip container, if you want that back, you have to tell me, because to me, that's disposable. So if you want it back, you have to really let me know. But if you bring like the Tupperware or the little Rubbermaid hickey, I'm presuming that you want that back. Now, if I bring it to you from my house, you can keep it, because I mean, to me, I'm bringing the dish. If I want to bring something that I want to take back home, I'm just not going to bring it. I'm going to put it in something intending for you to keep it. But I do realize that not everyone thinks like that.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
The habitual plate taker had the nerve to get an attitude with somebody else that asked about they Tupperware, cause you ain't asked me for it back. She asked me, and they're gonna get an attitude. Huh? But
I think the thing is, for me, if depending on, like, there's certain people, for example, like if my mother or one of my sisters come through and they take some stuff, I know I'm going to get it back eventually. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I may give them something like, I might give them like a glass dish or something like that, whatever, right? The problem is, excuse me, Jesus. If I'm giving you something like a disposable thing like that, or like what would y'all call Cool Whip container, I'm expecting not to get that back.
Right.
Like, I gave that to you because I know that you're outside of that circle of me being able to get something back.
Okay.
Exactly.
You know, but the problem is like this, like for me, I want to be I'm one of those people that invest in a heavier foil. So I try to give you a good foil, so I don't have to give you any other plate or any other, like.
Oh, so you make the animals and roll up the end and all that other stuff.
Hey, but it makes a lot of sense. You ain't got to worry about it. They don't have to worry about it spilling in their car, especially when you get that heavy foil. You know what I mean? That like clack foil that you can like lay out, and that's cool.
That good Sam's Club.
Yeah, that like heavy duty. When you get that heavy duty foil, you be like, hey, here you go. Take your stuff and recycle it later. You know what I mean, or whatever. You know.
Now you brought up a good point. That I won't say it always happens, but it happens often. When you take a dish and it's part of your Tupperware that you take it and you expect to get it back, and then they've had it so long, and then they say that it's theirs, but you got the other set and your yellow bowl is missing. How do you go about getting that back? And it turns into an argument of, no, I bought this, and then they tell you when they bought it until you pull out the entire set. Like, no, I have the list. Wait a second. How do you deal with something like that?
These are people we should be friends with. You don't be friends with.
It's usually relatives, like you said. It's usually relatives.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's like, come on now, you know you took that ball. But I think, like, for me, like, certain things that if it's something like that that I give to someone, like, okay, you ever in a situation where somebody might always say, like, hey, can you loan me $20? And you be like, I can loan you 10 because I know you only good for 10. You ain't good for 20. You know what I mean? Hey, I've been in that situation a lot of times. Somebody like, man, you know, can I get $20? Nah, you get 5. Here you go. Because I know you only good for 5. You ain't good for 20. You know, you just good for 5. But and however you get the rest of the 15 you need is how you get it. But the thing is like when it comes to those particular dishes and things like that, you got to give those to people who you know is good for it. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
Even if they don't give you the dish back, like they gave you back something else in reciprocation to what you lost.
Okay. All right. That's fair to say. Okay, so we're going to do this real quick and wrap this part up. What don't you do at a cookout? So we got the rules going down, but what don't you do at a cookout? Go ahead, Nick.
We already said one of them. Don't bring uninvited guests.
Okay. Go ahead, Roogle.
Don't touch my goddamn grill.
Because you cooking?
Don't be coming over to tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing. Like, listen, I brought you to have a part of the cookout, not to actually cook out my cookout.
Okay, so you don't want nobody touching your area.
No, you don't come my grill talking about, oh, I think I think you should sit your ass down. That's what I think.
So they can't tell you to
no, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me how white my coals is. You can't tell me I need more coals. I need to restart the fight. You can't tell me nothing. All you can do is go grab me a bottle of water for me to poke some holes in and put a little seasoning salt in there or something like that, squirt it on the ribs or whatever I gotta do. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. You can go and grab me a beverage that I can drink because I'm hot over this grill. But when you start going into like all that kind of stuff and the technicalities of how you cook it, man, bye. It didn't happen to me. It didn't happen to me, but I've seen it.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Kim.
When you have to use the restroom, don't invite yourself to a tour of my house. Go to the restroom and come back outside.
Exactly.
Now, you know what? How do you prevent that from happening? Because you can close the doors. You're not, all the doors are shut. You're like, okay, I mean, don't go in there. How do you have someone in the house the whole time? You just, to make sure, to man the house, to make sure nobody goes in and out while you're being the host, or do you just use the honor system?
It has to be the honor system, which goes back to what Roogle said about knowing who you're inviting to your home. However, I did see this one time and I tried it. It was crazy. This one person said, put a whole bunch of stuff in your medicine cabinet, and if the nosy person opens it, all this stuff will fall out. And it actually happened.
Somebody was in the medicine cabinet?
Somebody opened my medicine cabinet. All the marbles came out. It was so hilarious. But I was just trying it to see.
Oh, so you just did it as a setup.
I just wanted to see, because I don't know where I saw it. I can't remember. So we were having an event at my house. I said, let me just put all this stuff in here and see if somebody will open the door and all of the stuff will fall out. And it happened.
Why were they in the medicine cabinet?
I never even inquired because they were so humiliated by the fact that they were caught. It was so funny. But yeah.
So were they invited back? Were they invited back to the house?
For what they were there for, no, because I haven't had any such event since. But that was funny to me. I wonder if they would ever see this, they would know exactly who they are. But yeah.
I'm sure they are. They would, and I'm sure that they were.
And the people who were there would know.
So wait a minute. So everything fell out. Did they leave right after?
No, they didn't. But you could tell they were uncomfortable after.
How did they explain? What was their purpose for going?
I never even asked. Because I just went and got the marbles up, and I acted as if nothing had happened because at that point,
you already knew.
What was there for me to say? What was there for me to do? It was already done. But that was funny. So I don't want to say booby trap your bedroom doors, but close your doors. Some houses have locks on them, but if you really have to get all like that, then you need to check who's coming to your house.
Now that is true. That is true. And if somebody that's a good idea. I don't have medicine.
Either that or put paper or something in the door, like where they can't see it, so that way when they open the door, you'll know.
They can't put it back.
But isn't that that's when it's time to say, okay, I need to go rent a hall and we'll just do the cookout at the hall. Because that's so weird to me. Listen,
but there are people who like to entertain at home, and I used to entertain a lot at home. It only happened at one time, although I only tried it that one time, so I really don't know. But
okay.
I'm particular about who comes in my house anyway. So, but that was fun.
Yes. So I don't know if you caught that part, Roogle, where Kim has set up a booby trap in her medicine cabinet and put marbles in there. Somebody opened it and all the marbles fell out.
Man, let me tell you about this one time. And they came over my house and they tore my medicine cabinet off the fucking walls. Right? Ding, ding, ding. And they was like, I don't know what happened. I sounded like, because what it was like, it was weird because usually you go up and you pull with your right hand and they open up. But this one was your left hand. You pull on your left hand and it opened up, right? But I guess they call themselves pull on their right hand and it was gonna come and they just ripped it off the wall. And I was like, man, come on, cuz, come on, man.
Right. Okay, so what ultimately happened when it fell off the wall? They didn't know what happened.
Well, when it fell off the wall,
because the sink is below it. So
I said it on the side. I was like, come on, like what was you doing? Like, why? Like, first of all, why you even like? Because the way it was made, it was like embedded in the wall. You know what I mean? It was in the wall.
Okay.
It wasn't like on the it wasn't like
on the wall with some screws. It was in. Okay. And they pulled it down. And what happened? Did they leave right after?
Well, all this shit all this stuff came crashing down. I'm talking excited about it because it was so weird that it happened. And so it was like one of those things where I was like, okay, it cleaned up the stuff and I set it to the side, and it was just like, what is you doing? You can't lie yourself out of that one. Okay.
So what was the answer? Nothing?
I mean, the answer was I didn't do it. Like they were living by that lie.
They kept the lie?
Yeah, they kept the lie.
Oh my gosh. I would have been like, listen, I was in your medicine cabinet. I tried to open it over here. How come it didn't open? That's when you say, how come your medicine cabinet don't open on the right? That's when you just let it all out.
Yeah. And the thing was like, it was like, because it was a situation like even me as a person I would always make the mistake and do it myself, but not to the point of like tearing it out. But you don't really know, like sometimes like if you ginger with something versus like being really forceful. And I think the person thought it was just gonna open the mat on it. I don't know. I don't know what they tried to find, but they told my stuff. I had to remount it and everything.
Oh man, that's a lot of work. So that's what we're trying to figure out. How do you prevent people from snooping around in your home? And that's when Kim shared her situation as far as, how do you wait a minute. Sorry guys. How do you
Well, now I don't even use my medicine cabinet.
You don't?
It's there. No. So if you open it up, you see emptiness.
You don't? Why? Because of that situation?
Yeah, partly, kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Okay.
I put those things other places. You know what I mean? Like medicines and different things. I store them in other places versus where I used to.
I heard that. Hey, Roogle, what's happening in the movie world?
Man, it is a crazy, crazy time right now because like really nothing's in theaters. But however, I do want to give you some news. Have you ever heard the name of Earl Cameron?
No.
He was the first British black film actor. He died. He was 102 years old.
Wow.
And one of his claims to fame, he was in movies such as The Pool of London, Sapphire, and he appeared in 007's film Thunderball. The gentleman had a lifetime of work, and he was very prestigious over in British films and television, and he's passed. So, he may not be an African-American film star, but he is an African-British film star, and I think that we need to recognize the work that he did because he was one of those people where he went through the fire for us to stand on his shoulders. In other news, Beyonce, she has a Disney Plus, what they call visual video coming out, and it will be out, I think, July 31st.
A visual video or virtual video?
What did I say?
Virtual.
I said habitual.
Habitual. I don't know. I'm like, that's Beyonce. Is this something new?
No, I'm messing it up then. A visual album, a new video. Sorry, it's called Black is King, inspired by the Lion King, and that'll be debuting on Disney Plus. Plus on July, I think 31st. And what's the next news? Oh, this was an issue about. We didn't really talk about the 4th of July or whatever, so I won't.
That's what I'm getting right. That's what I want to know. Like, it's the 4th of July, and the best, usually, what is it? A great movie comes out on the 4th of July, and this year there isn't one.
There is not one. Not one. Because it's a time where people want to fill the theaters, and unfortunately, you can't fill those theater seats. What is coming out pretty soon is what is it called? Tenet by Christopher Nolan, and that will be. It was supposed to be. I believe it's going to be in theaters July 18th. And so, but right now, there's a lot of cities reverting to having theaters and restaurants shut down.
What about the drive-ins?
COVID. I didn't catch that. What was that?
What about the drive-ins?
Drive-ins are thriving, but the thing is that the content isn't there.
Okay.
So I mean, no one's there may be 600 drive-ins in all of America. So you're not going to really put your film in just 600 theaters. You won't get it. You won't get the return that you want, especially because how many people can actually sit in a theater and how many shows they can actually show. So usually a theater may show a movie twice. Oh, am I on delay or something?
You good.
Oh, okay, cool. So that becomes an obstacle. There is, though, a Hillary Clinton documentary that will be released pretty soon. It's called Hillary, and it's about her 50 years in politics and everything like that. So
I'm not interested.
Not interested in Hillary?
No. I'm not.
Neither was a majority of the American people, because she lost the election.
First I was trying to do the lesser of the two, you know what I mean? But I'm just really not interested in a Hillary movie. But go ahead, that's just your segment. What other?
Well, I'm just pointing that out. I mean, this is some new news. And I heard this via Fat Man on Batman. It's a Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin podcast.
Okay.
Jesus, now I'm going to forget his name. Jason Momoa.
Okay.
Is cast to be Frosty the Snowman in the upcoming film.
And that's for the winter?
Yeah, in the winter time.
Okay, I'm like, that's for the winter? Like, think about
like this.
What are we supposed to do during the summer besides have cookouts?
Well, if you make a Christmas album, you record that Christmas album now. You singing those songs now. You're not singing them in December.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You gotta make those films before the season happens.
Okay, got you. You're right. So, do you think the theaters are going to be open up in the winter? Or
I don't know. I mean, part of me says I think they will try. Another part of me says that with the increased rates of COVID and that the cooler the temperatures are, the more likely it is to spread. I don't think so.
What you think, Kim?
I'm sort of agreeing with him. Right now, everything is so up in the air. I think a lot of it will have to do with whether or not they'll open classrooms, whether or not they will allow what's been open to stay open. There will be a lot of factors involved that right now are just too early to predict.
They're talking about in Ohio opening the schools back up and having class 2 days a week, staggering the schedule, and from 3rd grade up, wearing a mask. What's your thoughts on that? I know it was a whole lot I just gave you, but what's your thoughts on that as far as starting school back and how, and then I'll go to you. Go ahead.
Who did you want first?
Yeah.
Oh, you're wanting me to answer that?
Let's go with the staggering. Let's go with the staggering first, the staggering of the schedules.
For smaller school districts, maybe that would work because you only focus on one school for each level of education. And maybe, that's something that's feasible. I don't know how it would work for a larger school system. Of course, Roogle would have more input for that, but I would say for smaller school systems, there's a lot more flexibility to see how you can do social distancing. I have a concern about masks because a lot of times adults don't want to keep theirs on. So how are kids going to keep theirs on? And there are also people who are saying that masks all the time consistently like that are not safe because it does interfere with gas exchange, which for us nurses is like breathing in and out. So that you guys understand what I'm saying about that. You're breathing in oxygen, you're breathing out carbon dioxide, but how are you doing that with this mask covering you for hours at a time? So I don't know.
I think that you kind of got to revert to, not revert to, but use the college model. So, like for example, like you have certain classes that are only certain days a week. You have like so many hours you spend and that sort of thing. I think like if you were to have kids inside of a building, like maybe you don't have dismissal times for those classrooms at the same time. So, for example, maybe one group of students start class at like, let's say 8 o'clock. Another group starts at like 8:30, and then that like you switch so you don't have kids traveling throughout the same classroom. I mean, throughout the building. So let's say one wing is devoted to the Englishes, the math, and whatever, and so you just have those same kids that were in that same class just go a room over versus going across the building. I think some of it is virtual in the classroom. Like you get those kids in that same space and you can say, okay, this is the monitor and this is what's going on. You do some of that remote education components of it. But then the other thing is like you got to look at, do you need kids in front of an instructor or do you need them to have access to an instructor?
I have to go to a place. I have to have the instructor right there. That's just the way I receive better. I have to go into a classroom. You say going across the hall. I'm looking at if you have students in a classroom and then they're changing to another classroom, who's wiping these desks down? We know that these students, especially because they have grade 3, 12 to wear the mask, and I'm with Kim 100% on having that on the entire time. You see people that have it below their nose, especially it's allergy season. You see me, I'm all swollen allergy. They're killing me. Okay, so let me stay home. But you have grade 3, K through 3, they're little petri dishes. They touch every little thing, and social distancing is going to be hard. They like to hug you. How do a child that comes to you and they want to be all on you and you like, oh, they don't know, you don't want to like, get off of me, little person, because of this. They don't understand that. But even if you use a college, like you said, kind of like the college example was a good one, because you do have certain classes on certain days, and that could happen. Or when you were saying students being in one class and then the other one, if those students stay in the same class, like in elementary, remember how we used to stay in the same classroom and all the subjects were all taught in the same classroom? So if they do it virtually and they have access to an instructor and they're on a monitor, some people, they can learn and some can't. Let's be realistic. I was talking to a teacher, a 5th grade teacher, and she's out of Michigan. And she said she has 72 students in her 5th grade. In her 5th grade class. Listen, 72 students in her 5th grade class, because that's what she was teaching this past year. And
at one time.
All together, because she's in 5th grade. And she said that out of those 72 students, virtually only 22 showed up. Now, here's the thing, and she said pretty much what everybody, was saying before is the parents. The parents have to get involved. The parents are working. They're not holding their child accountable as far as like, you need to be here, or they maybe who knows. But anyway, she said 72 students overall and only 22 showed up. Now I'm with her on this part of it. She said the first 3 quarters they did. Ours was March 17th is when we stopped. Okay, so you got that last, was it the last quarter, I believe? But they had to, as everybody, pass everyone along. How come they couldn't just do those 3 grading periods and average?
Well, I think
I'm glad it wasn't enough when I was there, because I kicked it the first grade period. What? I got time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think like because I don't think that the children should be held to those first 3, because you need all 4 of them. You know what I mean? It's designed that way for a reason, and the curriculum is spread over that particular period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it would have been fair to those children who were on like the bubble to say, well, let's just grade you on these 3. But by the time you actually grasp the material, it was in the fourth quarter, if you will.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. I think the idea of what they did was the most appropriate.
Okay.
I just think the issue is, how do you move forward? And the concern for me is that if you're going to do online classes from home, you have to ensure that everybody has the connectivity to be able to participate in those classes, and the technology to be able to do it. But you also got to ensure that they have the resources. And when I talk about the resources, I mean like paper, books, you know, the things that support the online, the virtual learning. When you look at, like, for when I got my master's degree, half of that was online, you know, and half of it was, half of it was online. A quarter of it was virtual learning, where there's a professor in another place teaching, you know, the whole class. And it's just like, I think that the children are going to be more savvy to be able to adapt to these particular things, because they're going to live through these things. I mean, I adapted and lived through it, and I was in a situation prior to that when all my learning was classroom based. I just think that what's going to happen, I think it's a real opportunity for people to be able to expand their knowledge base if they look at the various resources that they have to be able to complement what they're learning.
Okay, now you said that, but you said with your master's degree, that's as an adult. So there's some sort of discipline that's already instilled. When you're dealing with little people, I think that's going to be a little hard. Go ahead, Kim.
I agree with both of you. I agree that we definitely need to look forward. I really don't think that having stopped the school year after the 3rd grading period would have made much of a difference. I don't think that the 4th grading period really added any value as well, though, because everyone was so unprepared, and we have to take that into account. Everyone was unprepared, so I can't say that there was any less or more effective way to do what actually occurred. I do agree, though, that we have to look forward and prepare. However, I was that student. It was very hard for me to learn. And if the old me was going through this, the younger me, I would struggle with virtual education. I need someone to force me to pay attention, especially if I'm not following the teacher. I'm okay if you're talking to me and I'm getting it, but if I didn't understand it, I don't want to raise my hand on the computer. I need somebody to come and show me what you're trying to teach me. So I think learning styles are a little compromised, because when you have virtual education, parents have prepared for virtual education. They have tapped into the resources that are needed to teach that child virtually. But when you have a situation like this where it's going to become standard, you have to look at the teaching styles of the teachers. You have to look at the learning styles of the students. You have to assure that everyone who needs internet or whatever to learn has it. There are so many more factors involved. I think that you really have to have a comprehensive plan for how to teach all students virtually, just as you would if they were in the brick and mortar setting.
To add to that, I think the issue is, like, for example, if we had like a 10-to-1 ratio, if we had like 1 teacher to every 10 students, right? You could give like a personalized instruction to those children. And I think that's one thing that we could probably take advantage of now with this situation, is that you can have that intimate educational experience if it's designed that way. So, I mean, you have these 10 kids for that class, you have these 10 for the other, or whatever. I don't know if I want to give the children this credit, is that they're in a situation where the technology that is around them, they've grown up with. With us, we had to make a paradigm shift to say, okay, this is now what the new norm is. But for them, it's always been this way. I think that they're more resilient to be able to adapt to this situation. I just think that what needs to happen at the home is that we ensure that there aren't distractions that take away from them learning. So, for example, the discipline at the crib may be, hey, don't turn on that TV until the lesson is over, or don't turn on the video game until that's done. I think this new paradigm is going to make it more like once you get past the connectivity issues, the resource issues, now you got to say, is the home designed for the child to actually learn it?
No, go ahead, Nick. Let me see what Nick has to say. Go ahead, Nick. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm with you and Kim. I need to be right there. That's going to be hard for kids. Kids are fidgety. Especially
like Sesame Street. What's the impact of Sesame Street? Mr. Rogers, Mr. Body, Bill Ross. I mean, those are all things that were taught to us via television, right?
Right, but they're interesting to kids. They're entertaining. Sometimes schoolwork is boring when you right there in front of a teacher.
But I want to piggyback on that. Yes, it was interesting, Sesame Street, but it was reinforced when you went into the classroom, because you can recall and say, okay, I saw that the letter S and the letter T, I saw that on Sesame Street, and now you have a teacher in front of you that's showing you this is the way it needs to be. And I get what you're saying, as far as like virtual learning, but virtual learning is more of an instruction. And they're called instructors, but hear me. You're like, okay, put your name on the paper. How am I going to assume to put my name on this top line? But when virtually you're telling me, okay, put your name on the paper, and somebody might put their name anywhere on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm someone who the teacher needs to come to me and teach me. You can write it up there, show me the letter T. We'll just do that. Okay. So you make the letter T up there. And I'm like, okay, it looks like it's this way, but I may perceive it a different way. And then that teacher needs to come next to me, because I'm just that type of learner, that when I'm doing it, they say, yes, that's right. Draw one line. Okay, now across, and they can see, because some people draw the other way. You know what I'm saying? They might make a letter T, like start from the bottom to the top. So I need that person to let me know that I am doing it correctly, versus just here's direction.
Well, let's not forget that we're not talking about these changes being made because they think they're good for education. These are changes.
Oh, no, we know, because we have to. We understand.
So I think the thing is, I think you can have that personalized approach. I think because there's like, okay, when you think of like Khan Academy, or what's the other one?
I think that's science. That's why I keep muting you, because
like there's a lot of different like virtual ways that people can learn things. I get what you're saying. Like you reinforce that with the classroom learning, but I think like now there's going to be more of a demand for educators to be more dynamic in their approach and how they reach out to children. Like I think it's going to be one of those true like connection things. But the benefit to that is that you can have someone that is truly inspiring, educating thousands of children at one time.
If they don't have that distraction, like you said, because even me, being in school and doing it virtually online, like you said, in your master's, of course you're online. Do you know what I do? That instructor is talking, I'm doing laundry, I'm cleaning. I'm like, the distractions are definitely.
But the issue is that you're going to go back and do, the thing is, are you
disciplined?
You may not be disciplined in that moment, but are you disciplined to the subject matter as a whole? And I think that's gonna be a challenge. But that's the challenge now. That's always been the challenge. It's like the daydreamer, the kid that falls asleep. I did a bunch of all that. I did all of that stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, are you going to go home and do the reading? Are you going to do the assignments and all that sort of thing? Those all the instruction part is a very important part, but it's also the homework part that reinforces what happens in that instruction period.
Now, I will tell you something that's really interesting. The people who didn't have computers, they had packets in Michigan, right? And they gave them homework. And the instructors weren't taking the homework back because of the COVID-19. So they weren't collecting the homework. So it was just work for them to do. And then some of the parents, she was explaining, they wouldn't even have their child do the homework because they weren't being graded on it. Now, what's your thoughts on that? Go ahead, Kim.
I'm thinking that, like I said, all of it happened so quickly. There weren't times and opportunities to adequately prepare. So I guess they didn't think about what happens when all of this paper comes back from these different environments. What I would like to say to this, though, is I believe that virtual learning can happen, but it can't be presented as a classroom lesson. For lack of a better way to say it, because this is the quickest way to make everybody understand it, if you turn the content into video game-like material, maybe the students would be more ready to learn.
I mean, that you're doing, yeah.
Because when we're talking about kids and technology, they're doing this because it's fun for them and they enjoy it. It's sort of like me and roller skating. Everybody knows I roller skate if you know me. I roller skate for free. I roller skate for fun. If somebody came up to me and said, I will pay you money to be a professional roller skater, I would tell them no, because now you're taking the joy out of it for me. I don't want to do it the way you want it done. I don't want to make your standards. I want to get out here on the floor, and if I don't do the step the way everybody else is doing it, I don't have to. If I don't want to skate to this song, I'm not going to. So even though I believe that our children are extremely resilient and probably in a lot of ways more advanced than adults when it comes to technology, if it's something that they are now being forced to do, I think that that's an issue. My other question, though, is what does this do for the learning curve for our students in America as a whole? Because there is a component missing here. We just passed a whole class of kids who obviously didn't finish the school year. So even though we understand that it wasn't their fault and we understand why it had to happen, there is still learning that did not occur. What do we do with that?
Yeah, and to my understanding, I believe for college, they're like waiving the ACT and the SAT now.
And I'm okay with that because the standardized testing process.
They should have waited a long time ago.
Yeah, so I'm cool with that. But as we move forward, there are children who did not learn the last 9 weeks of school things that they would have been expected to know by the time they go back to school this year. What are we doing with these subject deficits that are obviously occurring as we move forward?
Now, that's a good question. That is a good question. Hey, something to think about. Nick, you ready? All right, hold on 1 second. And Nick, what's happening with that horoscopes?
All right, the horoscopes for the week of July 6th. Cancer, you could encounter someone unusual this week in person or online. Reach out and seek connection to expand your network. Leo, give yourself a much needed and well-deserved break. Daydreaming about the future is perfectly legitimate. It's not unrealistic to assume that some of these daydreams just may come true. Virgo, rather than wrestling the usual suspects over normal tasks, shift your routine a hair to the left or right by suggesting a new approach. Others will join in soon. Libra, Your growing self-worth has come from deep within you, so don't attribute it to other people. Scorpio, you'll be able to get back to the business of learning and expanding your horizons, perhaps signing up for an online class or making travel plans for the future. Sagittarius, change affects different people in different ways, so don't assume that other people will react the same way that you do to a big transition. Capricorn, it may not be easy to climb the mountain in front of you, but if something is worth having, it is worth working hard for. Aquarius, there is no need to doubt the thoughts that are flying around in your head right now. Even if other people are telling you that you're being dramatic, it's not all true. Pisces, anything worth having is worth waiting for. Luckily, a big payoff is due in another area of your life soon. Aries, this isn't a good time for any major action. It's fine to go forward with personal plans, but don't sign any legal documents and don't invest any large sums of money in anything. Taurus, your tendency towards pessimism has been growing stronger, and this is something you should address this week. Gemini, it's the little achievements that mean the most to you right now because they offer you an immediate reward and a sizable ego boost. Boom. Did I forget somebody? No. Oh, nope. I got everybody. And those are your horoscopes for the whole entire week of July 6th.
Okay, then you heard it right there. Now let's talk about what's going on right now as far as the removal of statues. The removal of the statues, the Black National Anthem being played prior to the American, I guess it's all American, the standard national anthem. I feel better with saying that. With all this that's going on, how do you feel about that? And Kim, I want your input on this one.
Oh, I have to think about that because I haven't. I'm sort of just going with the flow with everything, waiting to see. I didn't realize that the Black National Anthem was even being incorporated. And I'm sort of on the fence with a lot of this because our history is still our history. And it's not to glorify if we leave some of these things there. What we should do, though, is for our future, use this time to create a history that shows who we are as Americans of all races. I understand that right now our culture in particular is in the midst of a crisis in our country, but to try to erase what has happened in some ways and magnify what has happened in others, I don't think that's going to always be effective.
Okay, and I agree with you on that. I feel like okay, so if you take this away and then you add this, we're doing this. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, and we are segregating instead of integrating, which we're doing. We ask for equality. So instead of giving us equality, you rather say, okay, well, we'll take this down so you can be quiet. Okay, we'll do this so that you can be quiet. Okay, are we looking at the bigger picture? It's like, yeah, we all are Americans. We are happy with, where we are in America. However, we are not happy with the mistreatment of the police department and our inequalities. All we want to do is just be equal. So why is it going so far? Why does it seem like the narrative is being changed right before my eyes? I'm looking and I'm like, why are we just changing? No, this is what we were talking about. This is what it is for. And then you had those people that were talking about George Floyd being a martyr. And I said, I have a problem with that. He's not a martyr. A martyr is somebody who gives their life for a good cause. He did not give his life, he murdered this man. Okay, so let's look at it for what it is. We are tired of being killed. You got down south where you have people being hanged, and you have photos of different hanging from trees now. it's like we want the respect, and how come we just can't be equal? That's what we want, equality. No justice, no peace. Let justice prevail, not take down statues, because again, it is history. And if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. And look where we are. It's like, come on, taking this down does not erase the fact that this did not occur. Because they'll be trying to take down the statue of Martin Luther King.
I'm late to this. I'm sorry, I'm late to this conversation, but I think the issue is that the removal of the statues is there because they should have never been there.
I understand that.
I mean, so I think that, like, it's not saying that history didn't happen. It's how that history was captured. And when you have that memorial of someone who did these atrocities, it changes the narrative to be like, well, this wasn't about that. It was about this, when it really was about that, you know? I think that like when we talk about like military bases being named after Confederate generals, like, why would we do that? It has, like, these were enemies of the state. I mean, they were treasonous people. Even if you looked at it just from that point of view, and not slavery and all that other stuff, they should have never been honored. And they should never, these things should have never made. These were moves to appease people who were upset with what the results were from their treasonous acts. And those things should have never happened. So my thoughts are, remove all of that stuff, because it should have never been there. Not necessarily taking those people out of history, but make sure that the history is in the context of what truly happened. And sometimes a lot of times, having those statues in place changes the narrative of the atrocities that happened by those generations. It's like, even so much in Mississippi, like Mississippi is going to change their flag now, you know, and I think that's a tremendous thing that they removed that Confederate symbol from their flag, and they will be the last union in the United States of America to have that there. I think like you have to, like, I often go back to Nazi Germany. In Germany, you don't see swastikas up anywhere, because they know that was the wrong thing, and they want to vanquish that whole regime. So why would we perpetuate that here in America?
Go ahead, Nick.
To me, I don't care about them tearing down statues, changing the flag, any of that, because if we are still going to be faced with the same mindset, and we are still going to be faced with the same inequality, then none of that matters.
I think the issue is that I think you're right to an extent, but I think this is the time where the line has been drawn to what the future will have. And when you remove those things, when you look at how people are learning these particular things, you take away that symbol, you take away that energy that symbol had, that it may not do a lot in the present, but we're talking about the future. And I think that the removal of those things, I think that incorporating like the educational aspects of what has happened and getting people really and truly informed will make that shift for us. Maybe not immediately, but for those future generations. So there will be children that will be raised in an environment where they don't have to see these particular symbols of hate.
Okay,
people are still getting killed by police officers. See,
right.
I'm like, you know, you got to. I don't want to use the wrong term as far as like prioritizing, but let's triage this. Let's stop the killing first. Let's stop this issue. So it's
how do you stop the killing though? Like when you have private citizens that go and kill people and get away with it. When you have police forces, I mean, like I get what you're saying. Like, okay, there should be some legislation that comes in place that does it, right? But this last week we talked about Juneteenth, well, not last week, but a couple of weeks ago we talked about Juneteenth and everything like that, and how like even in that particular moment, like it took 2 more years for slaves to realize they were free in Texas because of what they did. So I think like when we think about this, like we want immediate action, we want immediate reform. but you also have to have that immediate reform with things that you do now that stop the spread. You know, and I hate to say, you know, the spread with COVID or whatever, but it's the same principle. Like, I can't just say change these rules to keep with these banners of hate.
No, not even saying with the banners of hate. We know where it stemmed from. We have the history of it and their history. Okay, it's his story. But Kim, I want you to elaborate on that. Go ahead, Kim. I just wait.
I fully understand what Roogle is saying, and I'm not going to say that I disagree because I don't. However, to me, all of these other measures to patronize us and to distract us from what is really happening is not going to move us forward, because we have to, we can't do just the little things. Yeah, you're going to take down the Confederate flag for the state, but I might still drive down the street and see the flag on 50 trucks. I mean, the mindset is still there. If we're going to take down statues and we're going to change flags, to me, that should occur when all sides of this can come together and stand together when they come down.
But that, I mean, I think I understand, but I still feel that, like, when you talk about all sides, like, which side are we talking? Like, what are we saying?
When the person who waves the Confederate flag can say that America is a country of equality for all, then, and they participate with us to take down the statue, then we've made progress.
I understand that, but I think though too. I'm not. I get what you're saying, and that sounds, and I don't want to.
No,
you can send this check and I'll let it all go away. That's how I feel with this thing here. I'm like,
yeah, that's how I feel too, Mel. I feel like we're saying, okay, well, let's do this and let's do that. And don't get me wrong. Let me say this. There are people who are not of color who truly, truly support us. I don't want to say all white people this, all black people that. I really want to clarify that. However, when we're looking at some of the things that are occurring, I feel like this is pacification in some ways, because it's not, we're not saying the people who've still been killed and the things that have still occurred that are not making mainstream media. When do we see an actual change in the ideology? Not just these acts of, I mean, how do we move to the future if we can't erase our past? We can't. So let's just focus on moving it happened and they did it. They were commemorated. Okay, fine. Now let's show what we can do from here. To me, I feel like we're stagnant.
And one of the things that need to occur is Black history needs to be taught all the way around, all year long, like the rest of the history, not just to minimize to the short month of February. Black people have attributed to a lot of things in history. A lot of things that if you were to tell certain Black children, certain white children, now they would be sitting there looking at you stupid, especially if they weren't taught that during Black History Month. Everything needs to be on the table.
I think the thing is what we're talking about is a larger piece of inclusion, but I will go back and say that I believe that when it comes to, like, we're talking about the sides and all that kind of stuff, when you have government entities retracting and going back and restating things and removing things, those are important things. I think, like, when you have the Constitution is we the people. When you have we the people going out and tearing down these statues and doing those particular things, we're moving one step closer to being in a situation where you can have that person who had the Confederate flag on their truck say, like, you know what, I didn't really know that this was what this was, and I'm moving, and I want to change this. I don't want my children to live in hate. I don't want this symbol in our lives. But I think that doesn't. I think for us to gather each and every individual and then change that mindset is a larger task versus, like, putting the political pressure on the powers that be to recognize the wrongdoing and then make those corrections. And I think that's what's happening now.
Okay, now, and that's publicly, but let's be realistic here. The hate groups are meeting privately, and they are still killing us. So my thing is, let's focus on that. And they say, and I'm allegedly, that the KKK now have badges. So they're using that. And they are killing our people. And it's like, let's focus on right now what's going on. That, like they did the whole Black Lives Matter up on across from on the White House. What is it, Pennsylvania Avenue? Mm-hmm. We know that all you have to do, well, I know too, all you have to do is take some blacktop and put it on there. Like, oh, okay, we about to repave the street, so it'll be gone. It might be, yay, victory, we got it. And then in 2 years, it could be just repaved and then it's gone. My thing is, let's deal with the issue at hand. And these are the lives being taken. Remove these bad police officers that's out there, these hate groups. People have their little clubs, they call them, and it's our history. And me personally, yeah, you could take it down and put it in a museum, whatever it is, and then you could say, okay, well, I'll teach mine. Just like with, there you go, that way. Nick was saying that Black history need to be taught all year round. I agree with you 100%. You know how I learned Black history all year round? I learned it at home. I didn't look for a teacher to teach me that. That was something that I was interested in, but I did have a librarian that introduced me to it. I need to see what is going on. Like, I know our history did not start with slavery, and it ticks me off that we keep focusing on that. And we know what history is. That's why I said it's his story. And then it's another way to keep us oppressed and make us feel down and out, because that's what they teach you in school. It is your responsibility, if you are interested, and I'm just going to put it out there, you don't even have to be a parent, aunt, whatever it is. When you have those little people are students and they are constantly learning. And if you want them to learn something, take them to the library. I learned from Miss Peace, the Dewey Decimal System. I learned that stuff. I was intrigued by it. Here, you need to understand this. Mr. Monroe from Hayes Junior High. These are people that actually said, hey, this is what you need to know. I know that we were kings and queens because I read it. So it is our responsibility as Black people to teach our little Black people our history and understand that, guess what? You are a little princess, you are a prince, and you will be a king and a queen. Let me show you where it derived from. Let me show you how this happened. Let me show you how slavery happened, since they're teaching you about that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, if you want to know a little bit more about slavery, trust and believe, it wasn't no white person that said, hey, let me come over here. A white person probably introduced it. And probably your Black friend that you sat there and you listening to your Black friend instead of reading it for yourself and understanding that this cruise wasn't going to be just a cruise. And you say, okay, I trust them. I'm going to go along with the masses. You got to read it for yourself. You're going along with the masses and then bam. Okay, well, I'm going over here to America and now you a slave. You got to read it for yourself. When you vote, you have to read every single thing on that ballot. Know exactly what you're voting for. Not because somebody else said it. If somebody don't like somebody, let's say, okay, well, I'm not feeling Kim today. Oh, okay, you gonna listen to what Kim's saying? And then I got my people listening to me. Here's what's interesting and what's sad about that. That I'm saying, you gonna listen to what Kim's saying and I expect you to listen to what I'm saying? What am I telling you? I'm telling you that you're not valued and you're a follower. That's what I'm telling you, because I don't want you to follow her. I want you to follow me instead of lead for yourself. So again, I just need people to read and educate themselves, research it for themselves. Don't believe just what one person is saying. Understand it for yourself. If it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. I think we need to bring it back and quit trying to change the narrative. And like Kim said, pacify. Don't give me a pacifier, because that's what you're doing. Here you go. Just shut them up. Boom. Throw a pacifier in their mouth.
That's what you do to babies.
Yeah.
I ain't no baby.
Exactly. And it's like, you got to know it for yourself. But everybody has a difference of opinion. That's why this platform is. It's okay to be you. And I appreciate it. Look, I'm like, I appreciate everybody's different views. I got to hurry up and get this out because we're running over time. I usually have my little TikTok for my male's medical moments. What's that sound? But we got to hurry up because we're running over. So today's medical moments is about dehydration. We know that 70% of the body is made up of water. It is hot outside, it's hot outside, it's hot outside. How do I know that I'm dehydrated? I'm just gonna give you some quick symptoms, tips, whatever symptoms. And it is dark urine. Dark urine says, hey, I might be dehydrated. I need to drink some water. If you are thirsty, you're probably already dehydrated, okay? Bad breath. When you see that white in the corner of the mouth and all that other stuff, you be looking like, and some people be talking, you be like, they got long jaw. Give them a bottle of water. They probably dehydrated, okay? I'm tired, fatigued. Drink that water to keep it going. Boom, boom, boom. Push it out, push it out. Dry skin, that is, listen, if you got dry skin and as hot as it is and you're sweating, you definitely dehydrated, okay? So ain't no sense in nobody being ashy right now. But if you have dry skin, yes, indeed, you are dehydrated. Get a bottle of water. Get yourself some water, okay? Low blood pressure. And I'm going to tell you this, cravings. When you have cravings of sugar and sweet stuff, that's another sign of dehydration, and you gain weight too. So be careful. So that's your male's medical moments. And we're going to talk about the Q-tips real quick. All right, today's Q-tip. So this week's Q-tips is about winning. What's important now? Let's deal with what's happening now. Kind of like what we talked about with the show we were talking about now, right now. Let's deal with what's happening right now in order for things to move forward, and then we'll triage and go from there. Being positive, dealing with everything that we have to deal with right now. It is stressful, okay? So be positive. Savor good moments. Savor your good moments that you have. Think about it. Watch fun videos on YouTube. Look at old home remedies. Have a cookout, okay? The habitual plate taker. You know what I mean? That's funny though, because thinking about it, you be like, Lord have mercy. Look, I done spoke this person up. Maximize your success. Don't minimize your success. Maximize your success, whatever it is. Baby steps. Celebrate them. Be happy. We happy about Roogle and his Father's Day gift. Boom. Maximizing that success. Just speak it and you can get it, okay? Strengthen your memory. When I say strengthen your memory, that's just strengthen your memory with positive words. Say positive things constantly. And then when you go back to your recall, what comes out will be positive. Because remember, what goes in comes out. Either way. Okay? So be positive. Strengthen your memory. Say, I can, I will, I shall, I did. You know what I mean? Speak positivity into your life and into other people's life. Okay? And that is people, comma, because we know people is plural. We had that little argument going on. Surround yourself with positive people, and don't be afraid to try new things. Now, what you don't want to try when you go to a cookout is to tell the person that's on the grill how to cook. Don't try that.
Unless it's my husband.
No, we ain't doing it. If you're the grill master, be the grill master. And listen, and there's a way that you ask that. See, practice strengthening that positive, strengthen that memory, that positive, the positive memory and those positive words. You just go to the person that's cooking and be like, oh, that tastes so good. Can I put this on here just a little bit longer, just so that those nice coals that you have, I just want the flavor to kick in so that I can have my hamburger well done. You know what I mean? But you might keep that quiet, but you might be like, I need the flavors of the coals. Oh, it tastes so good. You know, smoothing, you know what I mean? Smooth it out so everybody can be happy. So again, win, I use win as the acronym for what's happening right now. Identify with yourself. Take some time for yourself. And listen, don't identify with your pain. Identify with your purpose. Have fun. Don't identify with what happened bad. Don't identify. And another thing, don't identify with the way that somebody else thinks of you. Identify with what you think of yourself. Okay. So keep on winning. And I'm going to say this over and over and over. It's your voice. You have a choice. Vote. And make sure you understand what's being asked on the ballots. That's why they have different forums. Go to those forums. And since we're doing things virtually, you're able to tune in on YouTube. And if you follow me on any socials, I will definitely make sure that I have that there for the forums so that you can listen to what they're actually saying and not wavering and swaying. And I'm going to tell you something. I want everybody is a leader. Everybody is a leader. Sometimes you have to lead and sometimes you have to follow, but everybody is a leader. It depends on what your strong points are. But if you don't know, don't just listen to the person like, okay, I like this person, I'm going to go with this person, and whatever they say is law. Look at it for yourself, research it for yourself, read. Reading is fundamental. Like I said, they have so many YouTubes, and just what Roogle was saying too, we must give the youth credit because they know they own these little computer games. That's how mine learned how to speak Spanish, you know what I mean? And like Kim suggested, she was saying like making a video game, make games. They have those games, and that's how those little 3 or 4, 2-year-olds, they play those games and they learn off of those games. So do what it is that you need to do for you. Don't allow other people to make a decision because it is your voice. I have to say that. Is your voice. And just because I say, hey, let's go this way, don't listen to that person, you need to really listen to that person because it say, what's your motive? That's the question we need to ask. Why? Why can't I listen to this person? Why won't I listen to this person? Let me see what this person is saying. Why don't this person want me to listen to this individual? So do it for yourself. Kim, wrap it up for us, baby girl. Wait a minute, 1 second. We got to unmute you, baby. 1 second. There we go.
Today is the day to make sure that your cookout is okay. Do you enjoy everybody? And at the end of the day, just have fun. Don't make it so serious. Just have a good time.
There you go. All right, lovely people. That is my time. I thoroughly enjoyed you as I do each and every single Saturday. Until next week, people.
Shut up.
One day. We will definitely get it. I'm like, one day. We got to figure that thing out. One day.